After a brutal loss to Boston College over the weekend, Syracuse men's basketball entered tonight's matchup against Virginia Tech with the weight of the season potentially hanging in the balance. After the Orange finished the first half with a 7-point lead, SU collapsed in the second. 20 points again from Ben Hammond, and the Hokies put on a show in the Dome and handed the Orange their second consecutive conference loss. 76-74, Syracuse falls to 12-7 on the year and 3-3 in conference play. We're going to break it all down on a late night Orange Press Pass. Let's do it. Welcome into our CitrusTV studio. Luke Burgess alongside Ryan Croke and Nick Zuppe. Guys, pleasure to be alongside you. Syracuse tonight falls 76-74 to Virginia Tech in the Dome. Another loss in the ACC, the third of the season and second consecutive after the loss to BC over the weekend. Your first thoughts, Ryan, we'll start with you.
It's a predictable second half collapse. I mean, tell me where we've heard this story before, Nick. Syracuse has a solid first half. They make 7 threes, 7 of 12 from beyond the arc in that first half. You're thinking, man, if this team keeps it up, it's hard to imagine that they're going to lose this one, right? Did we really think they were ever going to keep that hot shooting up? I certainly didn't. I wasn't surprised at all, and unfortunately, that's the state of this program. It's a sad state of affairs in Syracuse with this men's basketball program that's supposedly a historic, supposed to be a blue blood of the sport, and anything but at the moment.
Now, Ryan, you focused on the second 20 minutes of the game. I'm going to look more broad at the whole 40 minutes of the game and talk about something Adrian Autry has stressed since his first press conference of the season. Dips, dips, and more dips. Syracuse men's basketball in each half had a stretch where they were scoreless for at least 3 minutes, and defensively, they allowed 2 different 7-0 runs, so consistency has been the key to this season, and it's just not there.
Yeah, Nick, you and Coach Autry clearly on the same page. This is what he had to say after the game tonight. Not happy about the continuous 40 minutes.
It's a good question. It's a good question. I think, something that we're trying to figure out. And it's not really a second half. It's a game for me. I know you go halves, and it's just a game. We got to be able to get to the finish line with some wins.
Well, the Orange still have plenty of work to do in the season, but postseason hopes might be dwindling, and of course tonight was a huge factor as to whether or not the Orange would still have high hopes going into the weekend. Another tough test against Miami, but tonight in the Dome, another 9 p.m. tip. The Orange and the Hokies going at it. And how about the away team has not won a game in this series since 2020, pre-COVID-19. That's a long time. Early on, though, Donnie Freeman doing what he's done since he came back from injury, 37% from 3 since he returned against Clemson. He hits one early in the game. And then Tyler Betsy doing what he's done all season, drills one to make it a 20-13 Syracuse lead. And the Orange were incredibly hot from deep in the first half, reminiscent of that Pitt game. Kyan Anthony has a chance for a 4-point play there. He did miss the free throw. Virginia Tech goes on the other side, a short dunk, but the Orange still clinging on to a lead throughout the first half. Anthony inside gets his shot swatted. That's a lot more of what Kyan Anthony has seen this season. But the Orange put up 37 points, play some pretty good defense, and shoot 58% from 3. The second half started with more of the same. Nate Kings, who had a phenomenal game against Boston College, 27 points. But then this is really where things started to unfurl for the Orange. Virginia Tech in the second half starts to get out to a bit of a lead, closes down the gap a little bit. And the paint presence defensively for the Orange, where did it go? After a great first half, all of a sudden, Nate King's getting fouled. He had the brunt of that contact. Betsy trying to respond. He drills a 3. At this point, 68-62. Virginia Tech now out for the lead. Syracuse playing some tough defense. The Orange force a turnover late. A chance to draw it back after they were down by almost double digits. Donnie Freeman gets the bucket. But then this final stretch, the Orange don't foul. Still trying to force a turnover. Betsy knocks it out of bounds off a VT player, so the Orange have the ball. They just need a 3 to tie it here late. A perfect play, gets it open on the wing to Nate Kings, and he misses off the front rim. And really, that's the story of tonight's game. Syracuse just cannot capitalize when it had the chances. Virginia Tech on the other side. Avdalis misses a free throw, gives the Orange technically one more chance, although it's pretty out of the question at this point, and you can see Tyler Betsy's reaction indicating just that. Nate George drills one at the end. but it isn't enough. The Orange fall 76-74 in the Dome. And now, guys, I know I mentioned it before, but those postseason hopes, they seem really dire at this point.
Absolutely. 12-7 at this point in the season, not at all where you expected this team to be. Just 3-3 in conference play, and they haven't even gotten into the brunt of those loaded teams, which is coming around the corner. It's really getting there.
Ryan, for me, this season is arguably just as bad as last season. When looking at the roster last year, it really wasn't that special. You had a couple guys, Jaquan Carlos from Buffalo, Jair Davis from Delaware, but this season brought so much more expectations. To have this caliber season is just very unsuccessful.
Yeah, you think about how far we've come since the Orange lost in overtime against Houston, their first loss of the season. And a guy who's been here through it all covering the team, our reporter for tonight, Jish Sokolsky, who's in the Dome right now, looking very sharp as well. Jish, I love the suit. Looks like he had trimmed the hair up as well, looking good. My question for you, Syracuse tonight, another loss, like we just mentioned, second consecutive ACC loss as well. You have to think now, there were questions about the postseason, if it was still a possibility after the last game. How about now? Does Syracuse have a chance at making the NCAA tournament realistically with back-to-back losses and now 3-3 in the ACC?
You know, Luke, you flatter me way too much, but you don't flatter this Syracuse team at all, and for great reason, right? You said it. That Boston College loss really felt like a season ender, and this almost felt like a nail in the coffin. You got to give credit to the guys at the end, right? A really valiant comeback attempt. Only brought it within 2, but really that's lipstick on a pig if you look at the general scheme of the game, where Syracuse was outscored 46-37 in the second half. A lot of that has to do with a lack of discipline, Luke. They fouled 28 times today. Now, if you can consider a foul a mistake, which I personally do, 28 mistakes is not going to cut it. This is a completely different team from the beginning of the year, which played fast, aggressive defense, but clean defense. Right now, they're fouling, getting people to the line where they can shoot free throws, and that's how Syracuse is losing games. And just with so many better opponents ahead of them, they would need some sort of miracle run. I said it last night and on the bench, they would need some sort of 2024 NC State kind of run to really make the tournament at this point, which I just don't see happening.
Hey, Jess, thanks so much for joining us. Well, speaking of stuff you said on the bench this morning, you said Autry's seat was hotter than a cup of Pete's coffee. Was there anything you saw out of his decisions tonight that make you think he's feeling any bit of pressure?
Well, I'll tell you that I saw something in his actions that made him feel like his seat was hotter than Pete's coffee. He was standing up, pacing, frustrated the entire game. The body language was just not good from the front man tonight. And yeah, you lose to Boston College, which is automatically something that heats that seat up. This game really wasn't going to cool it down one way or the other, right? You beat Virginia Tech. What happens? They're just a low to mid-50s team in the net rankings. This doesn't necessarily boost your tournament hopes. This was really only a game where Red Autry's job questions could get even hotter, and when you see tweets saying that there were parents of players questioning his decisions, when a fan on the Jumbotron was showing a Fire Autry sign, it's just a sign of the writing on the wall at this point, in my opinion. I don't think that his seat has cooled down at all. In fact, it's even heated up even more after tonight's loss.
Hey, Jish, thanks for joining us. By the way, I love the blue and white little Matt Campbell from Penn State action, so great job on the suit choice of matching us three at the desk. But anyway, Jish, I want to ask you about the fans that were there at the Dome. Syracuse was up at the half and went down as much as 9 with about 1 minute left in the second half. So can you describe the overall crowd presence tonight in a game that saw a lot of swing of emotions?
Well, I'll tell you, Nick, at about that 1 minute point in the second half, fans were basically already gone. Carmelo Anthony was already out of the building. That should tell you all you need to know. There was plenty of boos for Coach Adrian Autry, Fire Autry chants from the student section. It was still 18,000 strong despite it being so cold outside. And despite Syracuse losing a real heartbreaker in the game before, the fans still showed out and they made their voice heard for a long time. They were frustrated. And after the game, Coach Adrian Autry said, "Yeah, I'm frustrated too. We're all frustrated," to the point where he might have dropped an expletive in that post-game press conference. You'll have to watch the full thing on YouTube. But yes, this was just a very frustrated and deflated Dome by the time it all was said and done. And yeah, Syracuse, by the time the clock hit triple zeros, had more blue seats than butts in seats at the end.
Jish, thank you. Safe travels back to our CitrusTV studio. Maybe more on those tweets later as well. That's all we got so far for Orange Press Pass. We got more coming up on the other side of a short break. You won't want to go anywhere. We're going to break down what went wrong tonight for Syracuse in the Dome against Virginia Tech. third ACC loss. It's all coming up in just a moment. Back from our CitrusTV studio, Luke Burgess, Ryan Croke, and Nick Zuppe with you. Syracuse falls tonight to Virginia Tech, 76-74. And, of course, there's plenty of other NCAA action going on as well midweek. This time of the year, there's a lot of good games. And, guys, wow, you look at Illinois steamrolling Maryland. Hard to believe that was a Sweet 16 team a year ago. Obviously, a lot of change, but my goodness, Illinois, really good team as well.
Yeah, and talk about Maryland. I know TD Nick King's upset about that one. I mean, a team that was exceptional last season, lose Kevin Woolard to Villanova. Not great over there in College Park.
Really, on this screen, nothing really stands out to me in terms of big game significance. You're looking at a couple ranked teams blow out unranked teams. I mean, Nebraska to only win by 10 at home against Washington, I say is the one game that I start to question how they played. But other than that, I think these games went as many people expected.
Yeah, ACC, where things are the same. Like you said, a lot of what you would expect there. North Carolina, a dominant win over Notre Dame. And, how about Caleb Wilson? 22 points for him, 7 boards, another great night.
Oh, he's unbelievable. And his attitude for a guy his age is just off the charts. I really am super confident in what he can do for that Tar Heel squad. I think he can take them really far just by himself, honestly.
And that brings me to the game of the weekend. North Carolina traveling down to play UVA.
That would be a good one.
North Carolina is just one of 2 teams in the ACC to have 2 players averaging at least 9 rebounds a game. Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasar going up against Virginia's star-studded freshman Tice Ryder, who's averaging 16 points a game. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, well, once again, guys, the story tonight, Syracuse can't get it done in the second half. A 7-point lead after 20 minutes. And they go on to give up 46 in the second half, score 37 more, but really all for naught. Virginia Tech shoots a ton of free throws, makes most of them, and that's really the difference in this game. But the consistency of it is what's worrying, I think, for a lot of Syracuse fans and certainly for us here at the desk. What does Syracuse need to do to figure out these second halves? Because they cannot seem to play a full 40 minutes. It's something that Coach Autry has addressed.
Yeah, well, talk about Coach Autry addressing it, Luke. He really doesn't seem to know what he's doing. He doesn't seem to have an idea or a plan whatsoever. And that's really concerning, considering you're the head coach of the team. That's something that's supposed to be your job to figure out and something that you should be paying a lot of attention to, because you look at the numbers right here. They've only outscored an ACC opponent in 1 second half through 6 games. And it's just unbelievable that this has become a common theme with this team, and it even goes back into the non-conference slate. They've been outscored in 7 of their last 10 games in the second half, and it's causing them to lose these games, and it happened again tonight with Virginia Tech.
Inconsistency and inconsistency all season long. It's something as simple as this, Ryan. SU's best player and scorer, Donnie Freeman, misses a key chunk of games in the middle of the season. What are you going to expect by the time that ACC play rolls around? He's just going to be in prime form, ready to roll and play well with all of his teammates. It's just inconsistent all season long, and it's a struggle that Autry, like you said, has no answers to.
Yeah, Ryan, you mentioned that they've only outscored one opponent. They had to score 51 against Florida State in the second half to even do that one time. So when they have done it, the offense has been absolutely buzzing. Of course, the rotations tonight as well, a little bit away from the norm. I know we're talking about what we have seen consistently. Bryce Zephyr gets on the floor for the first time in almost a month. plays 11 minutes, doesn't score, but no Akir Soare, who's probably playing his best basketball over the last few weeks. That's an interesting move.
Well, I mean, you heard it from Jish. It feels like Coach Autry is coaching for his job. And when you're coaching for your job, you're going to try new things. So let's throw Bryce Zephyr out there. And at first you're thinking, why is he on the floor? What are we doing here? But then you look at how he's playing, and you're like, where has he been? Why has he not been on the floor? Because he was solid in those 11 minutes he played. And you have to like what you got out of him, all things considered. But like you mentioned, Luke, no Akir Soare, and you talked about Donnie Freeman. This team seems totally dependent on him. When he's not scoring, they really have no answers.
Luke, Akir Soare was the player I was going to hit on here. How do you not play Akir Soare when the entire game you're getting dominated in the paint? In the first half, Virginia Tech had 18 of its 32 points in the paint. They just scored at will in there, and Soare is a big guy to back up William Kyle. But as you guys see on your screen, Kyan Anthony also came into the first half, and he played pretty well. In 11 minutes, he had 5 points and 2 assists in the first 20. But with Anthony, I feel like his development is being halted, Ryan, because of guys he's playing with. In those bulk of the minutes he played in the first half, it was guys like Zephyr. It was guys like William Kyle. It was guys like Sadiq White. So those three in particular, who is going to score the ball out of those 5 guys? And it's really on Anthony's shoulders to do everything.
It's got to be someone. I mean, Donnie Freeman, when he plays like this, these 3 guys had to step up. They did not do it tonight.
Yeah, someone needs to continue to step up from 3, because right now it seems like that's the only way that Syracuse is hanging in these games. First half tonight, 7 of 12 from downtown. Shifted in the second half. They only made 3 3-pointers. And really, that changed the entire tune of this game. The Orange have had games, like against Pitt, where they've shot the ball really well from downtown, but then you look at what they did against Boston College, struggling a little bit more, and it's a loss. Clearly, that's a pretty important factor.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying in that first half, the only reason they were up was because of their success from 3, Nick. They were out shooting Virginia Tech from beyond the arc, but both teams were extremely efficient in that first half, and that's simply put why Syracuse is up, and the only reason they were up at the half. And then you move to the second half, and that hot shooting goes away, and you crumble. It's just a tale as old as time.
Ryan, I'm going to look at the 3-point shot selection. In the first half, Syracuse is moving the ball very well. Drive and kick, that's something we see a lot of in today's basketball. And it was working. Nate Kings had a couple threes. Tyler Betsy had a wide open standstill 3. So when they were driving and kicking and finding shooters, it wasn't working. In the second half, they took a lot more long-range shots off the dribble. Just very ineffective.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, this is a Virginia Tech team that hasn't quite got what it feels like it deserves this season. They know that they need to win some big games down the stretch, and if they're going to do that, they need big-time players, and they have one in Ben Hammond. He's our Orange Press Pass player of the game. 24 points, 4 assists, 6 steals. You see the numbers on your screen right now, especially in that second half. Turned it on. And how about his numbers from the free throw line? Syracuse could really use this, although, yes, they have very much improved as the season has gone along in ACC play now. 12 of 13 from the line and scoring from all 3 levels as well. A second half to remember, 16 points for him, a huge part of that comeback charge. And the Orange fall largely in part because of Ben Hammond's play tonight. He's our Orange Press Pass player of the game. We've still got more to come on Orange Press Pass. What's going on? There's tweets being fired off about players' parents talking to the media, all sorts of crazy stuff going on. We're going to bring back Ryan and Nick to talk about it.
Fancy pants peanut butter?
A big screen television.
You haven't even bought a sofa yet.
A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
We're moving things along here on Orange Press Pass. Luke Burgess alongside Nick Zuppe and Ryan Croke. Guys, we're talking tweet or tech. We're going to bring up some tweets from, well, I guess it's now X, not Twitter anymore, but some X posts. We'll still call them tweets very affectionately because we remember when things were a lot better than they are now. And we're going to see if you guys are running it as a tweet or are you teeing it up. You don't like it. Our first tweet, if you ask Red Autry what sets they run on offense, I don't think he would have an answer. This has obviously been a big talking point this season because of Syracuse's seeming lack of offensive plan from time to time. What do you guys think? Tweet attack.
Oh, I'm agreeing with this. This is something that I'd tweet. I mean, it just feels like this team lacks an offensive identity entirely. I mean, that offensive set at the end of the game that Nate Kings missed that 3 on to tie the game, that was the best offensive set that we saw tonight, and it felt like the only one that we saw tonight that was a designed play that actually did what it was supposed to do. It created an open look, and in fitting fashion, Nate Kings can't execute the shot.
Ryan, I'm in agreement with you. That tweet needs to be up there on social media because I'm pointing it right at Adrian Autry. This Syracuse offense is extremely stagnant. There's a lot of west to east motion offensively in basketball. You want to go north and south, get downhill, get to the rim. But, I mean, if you look at the initial action, it's always throw it to the big at the top of the key or even the wing, and then you turn it into a ball screen or maybe a dribble handoff read option type of thing. And then next thing you know, it's 10 seconds on the shot clock. And Syracuse this season, under 8 seconds on the shot clock, the most likely team to turn it over in the NCAA this season.
Yeah, another tweet that we're bringing up, one that you heard our reporter Jish talk about earlier. Syracuse has some parents that are none too happy. I know this isn't AAU ball, but it kind of seems like it. A player's parent, by the way, this is Q Sports Talk, credentialed media, just came over to the media table and said, poor coaching as the game concluded. That's certainly not a good sign. Kind of reminiscent of what happened with Calvin Russell's uncle calling into the postgame show during football season. Family members calling out team coaching, never a good thing, and it's now happening for men's basketball.
Yeah, well, the 2 words I look at down here are big yikes, and I agree.
Oh, sorry, I didn't even see that. Yeah,
big yikes. Huge yikes out of this one. I mean, a player's parent coming up to the media and talking about how poor the coaching's been, and can you fault them for it? Can you fault them for it, Nick? I don't think you can. It feels like the only thing that Adrian Autry has a grip on at the moment is the locker room, and at what point is he going to let loose of that? He clearly has lost the fans. Now it looks like he's losing players' parents. There's not many people left to lose.
I mean, I disagree with you there, Ryan, just a little bit because I even think he's lost the locker room at this point. When you look at this Syracuse team, they're playing with a lack of motivation. They're playing uninspired basketball. They're playing selfish at times. And that I point that right at the head coach, and that's Adrian Autry. When you look at this team, there's just no lack of adjustments. There's no go-to play offensively when they do go into these dips. And on defense, man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But when it is broken, you got to fix it. And sometimes Syracuse and Adrian Autry don't make adjustments on that side of the floor, which allows teams to get hot and go on runs.
Yeah, it's not a good sign. Definitely not what you want at this point of the season. And I like you look at each year's record, and you see that last year was a down year. I think the roster considerably worse, I think, by most metrics last year than it was 2 seasons ago in Red's first season. But I think there's no question. This is the most talented team, guys, that this team has had under Red Autry. And the numbers so far, yes, they were without Donnie Freeman for a while, but they don't reflect positively.
No, not at all. And it's a you know, you talked about how last year was a down year, Luke. I think all of these years have been down years. Is this what Syracuse basketball has become? Is this the standard? I don't think it should be. I don't think it is. There is a reason why the fans are frustrated, and you're seeing it play out in the Dome. Light attendance tonight, angry fans, it's all justified.
Yeah, guys, no good signs right now for the Orange. Fortunately, they do have a chance to get a big win on Saturday, the next time they take the court, and it will be in the Dome again. Likely Adrian Autry is going to hear some of those boos. We'll talk about all of that coming up after the break.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes, B, console her,
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend.
Nice single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
We're back on Orange Press Pass, getting close to an end here. Syracuse basketball season for the fans, hopefully not at an end. A 76-74 loss tonight to Virginia Tech. But there is more basketball to be played, guys. Here with Ryan Croke and Nick Zuppe. The Orange take on Miami on Saturday. That is a massive chance for an ACC win. NC State, they can be world beaters on any given night, it seems like. And they can play some great basketball. And then really the big game that you look at here, the only ranked team out of the next four on the road in Chapel Hill in early February.
Yeah, and that's when the going gets tough, and that's where Adrian Autry has his final chance to save his job. It feels like the writing's on the wall. Jish mentioned it earlier in the show, and I have to agree with him. A win at UNC, you have Duke on the road as well. Those are games that Adrian Autry's looking for a last gasp. Those are the ones he's got to have circled on his calendar.
Ryan and Luke, we've been talking about Adrian Autry being on the hot seat all night, and that NC State game has a player that really solidifies him being on the hot seat. Quadir Copeland of NC State, top 5 in the ACC in assists at 6 per game, 13 points per game as well. He was at Syracuse 2 seasons ago, and to lose a guy like that and have the season like they are, not good.
Well, there's plenty of material. There's no doubt about that for tonight. It's time for our two analysts, Ryan and Nick, to sound off.
Before the season, Adrian Autry championed the so-called Orange Standard. In his own words, the Orange Standard is, quote, about grit and determination. It's about playing hard and playing with heart, leaving it all on the court, unquote. Did anything we saw tonight from his squad reflect that Orange Standard? I'm hard-pressed to find anything that did. Plain and simple, this team looks checked out. Another second-half collapse. The 7th time in the last 10 games SU has been outscored in the final 20 minutes. The calls for Autry's job exist for a reason, and it's because of figures like that. Is no tournaments in 4, soon to be 5 straight years the Orange Standard? I ask the question to you, Coach Autry. Is this the Orange Standard? It shouldn't be, but it's year 3, and we're stuck singing the same song. This is not the Orange Standard. This is the Autry Standard. And tonight's game is not the first to prove that those two things cannot coexist.
Now, Ryan, when looking at this Syracuse men's basketball team so far, the final play sums up exactly how it's gone. Let me paint you the picture really quick. With under 10 seconds left, the Cuse was just down by 3 and a VT player was at the foul line. Neokis Avadalis missed the shot, but Hokies forward Toby Lawal simply outmuscled Donnie Freeman, grabbed the offensive rebound, and sealed the win for Virginia Tech. Now, to me, it feels like Syracuse has had every opportunity to win a big game, but it has somehow, some way, always found a way to just come up short, and the last 2 games are an example of that. Blowing a second-half lead to a winless ACC squad in Boston College, and now the collapse here today. So Syracuse fans, there is just no way in heck that you should be surprised at how this season has gone so far.
Guys, plenty of material for you, clearly, to go off just now, pulling no punches. It's been a fun one. Syracuse does not have a lot of time to get its act together, that's for sure.
Not at all. And I mentioned that North Carolina game. Got to win one. Got to win at least one if you're Adrian Autry.
If Syracuse potentially wins against Duke, wins against North Carolina, you think they got a shot? Real quick.
To make the tournament?
Yep.
You have a fighting chance, I guess. You still have to make some noise in the ACC tournament.
Sure, yeah, why not?
And it's a high, high standard for the Orange the rest of the way. Want to give a thanks to our whole crew, led by our producer, Helaina Stovin, for Ryan Croke and Nick Zuppe. I'm Luke Burgess saying so long from our Citrus TV studios. Good night.